Hey everyone, happy Tuesday. Welcome back to I think it's our fourth session now of the Insider Live at eXp, where we talk about all things eXp. I will be your host today. My name is Frank Panunto. I'm Vice President of Growth of the U.S. East. So I'm here to answer any questions that you may have today, kind of go through this little slide deck and get to the reason. Why is everybody coming here? Why is this all this momentum? What is it about eXp that people are so attracted to? Going to answer all those questions today. So there's so much good stuff to talk about. To give you a little background, I've been doing this for 31 years. I've been in real estate, and I came over here about 3 years ago, and I got to tell you, I've never had so much fun in real estate in my life. Just the quality of the people that I'm surrounded by on a daily basis is pretty awesome, and what makes it all so great. I think the one thing that one of the best parts about real estate is we get to choose who we want to be in business with. So when you surround yourself with people that move you closer to where you're trying to go, it's a pretty magical thing. So we're here today. We're going to talk about eXp. Let's get into it. So people understand it. I'm going to clear up a lot of myths and a lot of misconceptions that are out there. First and foremost, we are not a franchise. And a lot of times we get compared to a couple other companies. And I can tell you that we are one brokerage. We are one independent brokerage. We are in 27 countries now with a goal of trying to get to 40 countries over the next 3 years, which we will do. But if you can see our growth chart here, we started in 2009 when Glenn Sanford, our founder, came up with this phenomenal model that just literally changed the entire industry. And if you see the trajectory we're on, we are heading to, we want to be the biggest brand in the world. There's no question about it. And we are certainly on our way to doing that. And we're very excited about that part of it. So here's another myth. One is that, you guys know it's another franchise model, blah, blah, blah. It's not. One independent brokerage. The next myth we're going to break is that all eXp does is recruit. You're a recruiting company. Selling houses is secondary to you. All you care about is recruiting. Couldn't be farther from the truth. And by the way, this slide will show you that. So we just celebrated our third year in a row of being number one in houses sold by independent brokerages in the world. Number one, 3 years in a row. We just eclipsed 350,000 homes sold in 2024. That's just in the U.S. That's amazing when you think about how many houses we've sold. So what does that tell you? It tells you a couple of things. One, obviously we sell a lot of houses, but we must have the best agents in the industry, right? In order to do this kind of volume and sell this many homes, something's working. So A, we have great people, and B, our stuff works. So everybody talks about platforms, everybody has tools, but A, do people plug in their tools, and then do they actually work? Well, here's proof in the pudding here. And that's another thing I definitely want to address tonight as I go through this presentation. I think, and I say this every week, so if you've seen this before, I apologize, but I think the most overused word in our industry is agent-centric. Every company claims to be the most agent-centric company out there, but they can't prove it, and they can't put their money where their mouth is. I promise you, as I go through this presentation tonight, that you will see why we believe that we are the most agent-centric company in the industry. So as real estate agents, obviously the customer experience is your number one priority. For us, the agent experience is our number one priority. Now let's start with this, because it's a very important point that I think people don't know and don't understand. So when you talk about Glenn Sanford, who is our founder, when you talk about Leo Pareja, our CEO, the whole executive team, everybody in leadership on my level, every one of us is a licensed real estate agent. So what does that mean? What it means is that every single decision made at this company is made by real estate agents for real estate agents. And I don't know anybody else can say that. So, we've all been through it. We understand what the hurdles are. We understand what all the challenges are in real estate. And therefore, we're constantly trying to do something to make sure that our agent experience is top level. That's agent-centric. So as we keep moving, here's some of our, bragging rights. We're number one growth leader. Real Trends have us number one, number one place to work. All the different accolades that you see out there all the time. We're always getting number one ratings, which we're super happy about. Again, speaks to the quality of the people that we have that work here. On that, as we're talking about production, we're constantly celebrating our top 250 teams and our top 250 individual agents. That's another myth. People think that you have to be a team to come here. What if I told you that over 60% of the agents at eXp are solo agents? Over 60%. right? Everybody thinks, oh, you've got to be a team to go there. They don't care about the individual agents. Wrong. We're all about individual agents, obviously, and teams. Now, here's an interesting fact for you. If you were to take our top 250 teams and they became their own brokerage, they'd be the number 5 or 6 largest brokerage in the country. Think about that. Our top 250 teams would be the 5th or 6th largest brokerage in the country. Incredible. That's the level of business that we're doing, and that speaks to the quality of the agents that we have here, where, again, production is our number one focus. So let's talk about this. Cloud-based. What does it mean? And we get asked this all the time. What does it mean to be a cloud-based brokerage? You know, I need a brick and mortar in order to survive. That's another myth, right? When the fact of the matter is this, if you look at all we like to call them copycat companies that are coming out now, all these new real estate companies are following our model, which is the virtual model. Why? Because overhead's too expensive. And again, when we talk about agent-centric, I'm going to come back to this a little bit further down the presentation to explain to you why and how that relates to being agent-centric. But being cloud-based is awesome, and I'm going to tell you why. You have access to our platform from anywhere in the world. It doesn't matter where you are. I always say to real estate agents, if you want to get busy, go on vacation because your phone's always going to ring, right? But what happens if you're somewhere else and you can't get to your stuff? You need your files. You need the platform. You need to be able to conduct business. We have access anywhere in the world. We have a 24/7 concierge desk that you can access from anywhere in the world, which is unbelievable. When we talk about our training and development, which we're going to get into as we get into our vending machine in just a little bit, but any of our classes, any of the training, you can access anytime from any place, from anywhere. That's awesome. That's the beauty of being cloud-based. The other beauty and the other biggest part about it is the lack of overhead and all the expense. All right, so then where does all that money go? I'm going to talk about that in just a little bit. So eXp World is our virtual world, our virtual corporate headquarters, if you will, because we don't have a brick and mortar corporate headquarters. We're located all over the country. So again, your access and the ease of access is absolutely amplified through being cloud-based. We have over 2,500 staff members here at eXp, over 2,500. And to think that you could be anywhere in the world and access the people where you get responses and you can get to them is pretty awesome. And that's what cloud-based is all about. So it's funny because I was in the traditional model for a long, long time. And, you know, I think I've worked in offices that were smaller and I've worked in offices that had over 300 people in it. And it was always the same 15, 16, 18 people that would show up every day, right? Where here, I see hundreds of people every single week. There's so many different things going on between the masterminds and the education. Your interaction with people, it's as much as you want it to be, which is awesome for me. I'm going to talk about some of this for you because there's a couple of things that I think I want to stress about. They're just some of the greatest features of this company. And one of them, probably the most important, is collaboration. You know, we all own this company. As soon as you have one settlement at eXp, you become an owner in eXp because you get stock. I'm going to address that a little bit. But think about this. One brokerage, and the agents are owners in the brokerage. So everyone's success matters to us. When you win, we win. And when we win, you win. That's how this works. And because of that, the collaboration level is off the charts. The willingness of people to open their playbook and give it to you and say, hey, listen, this is how I did it. You know, I'm very successful and this worked for me. And they share that with you. I've never seen anything like it. I've really never experienced anything like that before in my life. There's masterminds that go on across the country. A lot of times you have to pay for them. You have to fly somewhere where you can just pull up in your living room, which is where I am right now, and have access to over 80,000 agents because that's how large we are. And to have access to agents in different countries. It's incredible. So let's get into this deck a little bit. So we do have a monthly fee. It's $85 a month. That is our cloud brokerage fee. The $85 a month to get you this entire platform, which is unbelievable. We like to call it our vending machine. My buddy Tony King, who was vice president, he came up with that term and I stole it from him. So thanks, Tony. Appreciate it. TK. So here's what the $85. I like to say it's a vending machine. You get an $85 coin. You put it in a little slot, and this is what you get. I'm going to highlight a few things. Obviously, I won't go through all of it, but I do want to highlight some of these things for you. One is CISU. Everyone gets a CISU account here. which that on its own would probably be $600 to $800 a month. But everyone gets a CISO account. Everyone gets a Canva Pro account included in the $85 a month. Amazing. We also have SkySlope, which is like a virtual filing cabinet. And this is our transaction coordinating software where every time you have a transaction, you upload it to SkySlope, and it goes to our compliance team to check everything. Electronic signatures are in there. So all our files are in there. All the forms are in there. So if you're currently using .loop as an example, you don't need it anymore. I mean, of course, you can still have it if you want, but if you don't have to have that extra expense, you can cut that out because it's included on your $85 a month. The lead gen. So right now we have KV Core. And that is our CRM system, our primary CRM system. And again, included in the $85, that alone would be probably $600 to $800 a month just for that, which KV Core is a great lead gen tool. If used properly, obviously, like anything else, you plug into it. And the front end of that is your customized website, and the back end is your CRM system. So KV Core available for everyone. I want to touch on the revenues program. So this is where all of our relocation and referrals go on. As an example, last year, just to give you a number, over 44,000 referrals were given out by eXp, which attained to something like $1.8 billion in business. Insane. Just because you plugged into a revenues program. So that's available for everybody. Wanted to talk a little bit about the training. eXp University, off the charts. So Brian Ellington, probably one of the most respected learning people in our industry, is our chief learning officer. Brian, unbelievable. He has taken eXp University and made it like the greatest thing ever. So everybody knows, because you're virtual and all this stuff. We have 80 live trainings every single week. 80. And these are taught by our icon agents. What's an icon agent? These are our highest producing agents in our company. And remember, before I was talking about the collaboration and how they share their playbook. This is what I'm talking about. This is part of it. So you can plug into anything you need. One of the things I like to tell people, another great attribute of the company, is that everybody here has a peer group, which is very unique. It's unusual. Whether you're a brand new agent, you have a peer group. We have teams and solo agents doing over $1 billion a year in sales, a year, and then everything in between. A lot of times, I know in my past experience, there was agents in my company and offices, the highest producing agents, the number one agent in each office. They're awesome, but they never had a peer group. Everybody was asking them for advice, or asking them if it got a minute. When I ask you a question, can I get some advice? But who do they have to grow? Because people don't want to stop growing. Usually your top agents are racehorses. They just want to keep going and keep going and keep going. But who can they plug into? So I think one of the greatest things here is that everyone has a peer group. No matter where you are on your real estate journey, there's somewhere for you to fit in. Love that about this company. Probably my favorite thing is I just know that everybody has a place to fit in. So under eXp University, we have our unbelievable program called FastCap. FastCap's a 6-week program, which we had a beta test back in July. Now, there's like 150 agents at that time. Now we have over 4,000 agents going through the program. 6-week program. And the people who actually plug in and do what they're supposed to be doing are averaging about 4 transactions. We'll call it, I'll define that in a second, each in those 6 weeks. I'm going to define a transaction as either a listing appointment, a buyer appointment, or an accepted contract. So they're doing activities, which is producing results. And they're having at least 4 of those results in 6 weeks. So think about this. You're a team leader, and you've got 10 people on your team. And some are doing very well and some are not, which is not unusual. If we can come to you and say, hey, team leader, we have a program. If you put those 10 people in that program, you're probably looking at about 40 transactions in the next 6 weeks if they do what they're supposed to do collectively. Whether it's appointments or actually written contracts. That's awesome. Who's going to turn that down? There's no extra charge for that. That is included in that $85. Unbelievable. Elevate coaching. This is high-level coaching for, like I said, there's people who are at the top of the totem pole that are trying to go even higher. We have specific coaching for them as well. Masterminds we talked about. Let's get into support stack a little bit because this is very important. So broker teams. All right, you guys are virtual, so obviously I can never get a broker, right? Wrong. Couldn't be more wrong. Every state has brokers, right? And depending on what our population is in that state is how many brokers will be there. We have some states that have 1 or 2 brokers. We have some states that have 5, 6, 7, 8 brokers, and everything in between. Again, it depends on the population of that state. Here's the cool thing. You have complete access to them. So through our workplace, which we saw in tech, the first stack there where it says tech, workplace was built for us by Facebook. It looks just like Facebook. It's how we talk to each other. So you can reach your brokers through workplace. They also have office hours. So from 7 in the morning to 7 at night, there are broker hours. There's usually coverage at night after that, and there's also weekend coverage. So you have access to the brokers. And right now, our average wait time is less than 2 minutes. Less than 2 minutes, you can have someone. So think about that traditional brokers I was talking about before. We have one broker, and maybe there is 100 agents. And that broker is in charge of recruiting, paying the bills, keeping up with the CE, obviously taking care of any issues that are going on, compliance. Those lists go on and on. I mean, that's a lot. And what happens if you have an issue and it's 7 o'clock at night, it's 6 o'clock at night, and you can't find the person, they've left for the night, or you can't get them, they're out putting out a fire, they're doing something else, and you might have to wait hours to get an answer, or it might even the next day. That doesn't happen here. And that's awesome, because we don't want you to have to slow down or stop production because you can't get to somebody. So again, it gets back to that agent experience. So our broker teams are off the charts. They are the backbone of this company. They are phenomenal. Along with that, we have a whole compliance team. So remember when I was talking about SkySlope and that every transaction goes into that virtual filing cabinet. We have a whole team of people that take a look at every single file that comes in there to make sure that everything's proper. Then you won't have any problems. Every T is crossed, every I is dotted. If there is something missing, they're going to send you it. They will send you an email and just say, hey, listen, hey, John, the seller's initials are missing on page 7 of your contract. Just make sure you get that tightened up. Real simple. And they're taking care of it for you. You got another set of eyes looking at every single thing you're doing. Phenomenal. I also want to talk about a couple things in that we have other divisions besides the realty division. We have a luxury division that is off the charts. Just really started less than 2 years ago, and we're already over 2,000 agents nationwide. It's international. They have their own set of tools. They're different color scheme, black and gold. Unbelievable what they're doing. They have their own masterminds and different listing presentations and that kind of thing. And it's just a phenomenal program. We have a commercial division. A commercial division has over 700 agents nationwide. If our commercial division was its own brokerage, it would be the 3rd or 4th largest commercial brokerage in the country. That's amazing. People don't even realize we have commercial, yet we're huge and doing great business. And shout out to Sean Murphy, who's just absolutely doing an unbelievable job there with our commercial division. We also have a military network. So whereas military bases throughout the world, we have a connection with all of them, where there's a network where they all work off each other because people are constantly moving. So we have that as well. And the last thing I wanted to touch on that we just launched today is Land and Ranch Division, which is just new at eXp, launching right now. So if you're somebody who deals in land development, ranches, farms, that kind of thing, we have a whole division for you now as well. There's one more thing I do want to touch on, which is the healthcare part of it. Pretty good to know that healthcare is available for every one of our agents. I'm a family of 6. I have 4 kids, my wife. When I moved over to eXp, and I got a quote to see what it would cost to be under our healthcare program, I'm saving like $700 a month. It was much cheaper than what I had before. And when you have over 80,000 people in the network, obviously the deductibles and everything are much better. It's great because it's such a big operation. So for me personally, awesome, great. I use it. It's the best. I have 4 kids, so it's really important for me. I just wanted to throw that out there so you know it's available for everybody there, and everybody get a free quote when you're here. Okay, let's talk about the compensation package. All right. Why did I call it a compensation package? Well, Frank, what's your commission split? Okay, we're going to talk about that, but the commission split is just one piece of the compensation package. See, compensation package means we have multiple revenue stream opportunities, and those opportunities are available for everybody. That's so cool. Think about this. When you're in a traditional brokerage, you're a transactional agent. You're on the hamster wheel. If you're selling houses, great. If you're not, that wheel slows down. And then you start getting fast again, and then it slows down. But that's the only means of income that you have. Where here you have multiple revenue stream opportunities. Really, an exit strategy, which gets back to the whole agent-centric thing that I was talking about before. And I'll get back to that in a second. So let's talk about the commission structure portion of the compensation package. Everybody comes in here, it's on an 80-20 split with a $16,000 cap. What does that mean? If you're not familiar with a cap, this is what it means. 80% goes to the agent, 20% goes to eXp. That 20%, we can also call that company dollar. So when the company dollar equals $16,000, then you have capped. So you won't pay us more than $16,000. Once you've done that, you would move to 100% for the remainder of your anniversary year. Make sense? So an example, $10,000 commission. $8,000 goes to the agent, $2,000 comes to eXp, 2 goes into 16, 8 times. So you would have to do 8 transactions where there's a $10,000 commission for you to cap. It's just that simple. So again, once you cap, you go to 100% for the remainder of your anniversary year. So if you started today on tax day, April 15th, if I started today and I capped in a month, I would have 11 months at 100%. Then next April 15th, I would start over again. That's simple. Okay. So let's talk about transaction fees. What does that look like? So we have a $149 startup fee. When you join eXp, there's a $149 fee. And by the way, that covers your first month of that $85 cloud brokerage fee. That's included at $149. We have the $85 a month cloud brokerage fee, which I told you about, which gets you that whole vending machine. We also have an additional $85 transaction fee. It's broken up into 2 pieces, as you see on the screen here. So this is while you're capping. So you haven't capped yet. Every time you have a transaction, you're going to pay an $85 transaction fee. $25 of it is your transaction review fee. Remember I talked about that compliance team looking at all your transactions? $25 is for that. The $60 that's remaining is your risk management fee, which is also called E&O. So you pay that per transaction. Actually caps. That caps at $750. So if you've done enough transactions that you hit $750, you will not pay any more risk management fee or E&O until you reset the following year. Okay, so that also has a cap on it. So again, 80-20 split, $16,000 cap, $85 transaction fee. Sound good? I don't hear anybody say anything, so it must be great. Okay, so now that's one revenue stream. Let's talk about some of these other revenue streams because Frank, you said there's multiple ways to make money here. Yes, there is. So part of Glenn's vision, and this is why it was so earth-shaking and changed the entire industry. Think about this. Before eXp got here, there really wasn't a true exit strategy for agents. Well, now there is. So this is kind of this is what I'm talking about when I get to the multiple revenue stuff. It's all about the agent. Remember in the beginning, I talked about agent-centric, and I talked about every decision is made by an agent for an agent. This is where I really want to drill down, and this is what I'm talking about when the agent comes first here. Okay, so let's talk about company awarded stocks. What does that mean? eXp is going to give you stock in the company for doing what you were going to do on a daily basis anyway. Unbelievable. So I always ask people 2 questions. Okay, question number 1. How many houses do you have to sell at your current brokerage to get ownership in that brokerage? And then question number 2, how many houses do you have to sell to get back the company dollar that you paid to your brokerage? Keep that in mind. So, okay, here's the answer to number 1. So every single year, I'm going to use 10 years for these examples because it's easy math and I don't have a calculator. So we're going to say 10 years. Every year that you have your first closing, you get a $200 stock award given to you. That's it. So that's the answer to number 1, by the way. How many houses do you have to sell to get ownership in your current brokerage? At eXp, the answer is 1. That's all you got to do. So if I did that for 10 years, that's $2,000 worth of stock that was just given to me. Didn't have to pay for that. $2,000 worth of stock. That's a lot. Now, every year that I cap, remember $16,000 cap. Every year that I cap, I get an additional $400 worth of stock given to me. Oh, 400 times 10 is 4,000. Add that to the other 2,000. That's $6,000 worth of stock that you would get if you were here for 10 years. If you capped for 10 years, $6,000 worth of stock. 1 year, $600 worth of stock given to you. You know, a lot of places when you cap, they give you an actual cap. or they give you a certificate. Hey, congratulations, you were the number one agent in the office. Hey, congratulations, you were a silver winner. You're a gold winner. Those pieces of paper don't have any value to them. The stock that you get here has a lot of value to it. So again, you get a $200 stock award every year when you have your first transaction closing. You get a $400 stock award from the company every year that you cap. You also get an additional $400 stock award if you were to bring someone into eXp. When they have their first closing, you get a one-time $400 stock award. So if I were to bring 10 people in at however long, and those 10 people had a closing, it's another $4,000 worth of stock that would be given to me. Think about what I'm telling you. This is starting to add up, right? So again, those are company awarded stocks. There's another company awarded stock. We're going to skip all the way over to the third column, which is that Icon Award. What is Icon Award? And something, when you hear about eXp, you hear about Icon all the time. And I spoke about Icon when I was talking about those 80 live trainings. They were taught by the Icon agents. This is what I'm talking about. So Icon agents are highest producing agents in our company. Here's what happens. Here's how you become an Icon. 80-20 split, $16,000 cap. You have now capped. You've done enough transactions that you capped. When you cap, you're getting 100% of the commission. When you're at 100%, you're paying a $250 transaction fee. It goes up to $250. That $250 caps at $5,000. So think about this. Let's just do easy math. Say you capped. If you were to do another 20 transactions, say it took you 7 transactions to cap. If you did an additional 20, a little more than 2 a month, you could Icon, because 20 times $250 is $5,000. So once you Icon, what happens? Well, remember that $16,000 cap you paid? This is the answer number 2, by the way. How many houses do you have to sell to get back the company dollar that you paid to them? You can get that $16,000 back in the form of stock now. So half of it, it's broken up into a couple pieces. $16,000 worth of stock. $8,000 comes back to you right away because you hit Icon. Congratulations. The other $8,000 is broken up into a couple pieces. For giving back to the company, i.e. teaching those classes, sitting on the panel, that kind of thing, you get $4,000 worth of stock just for giving back. The remaining $4,000, we ask you to attend 2 different eXp events a year. Could be our regional rallies, which are getting ready to kick off across the country, literally in 2 weeks, and eXpCon. We actually have 3 eXpCons now. We have one in the U.S., which will be in Miami in October. We have one coming up in Barcelona, Spain now. I think that's in June. And we just had one in Canada last week in Montreal. And so we have one in Canada, one in the U.S., and one in Europe every single year. So by attending any of those or the regional rallies, you would get the remaining amount back in stock. So, let's recap. Every year that you Icon, that's $16,600 worth of stock that you can get, that the company gives to you. That's real money. I mean, if we did it over 10, if we were a 10-time Icon, which Elizabeth Riley, that's $166,000 worth of stock given to you. That's life-changing. That is absolutely life-changing money. So and $16,600 worth of stock is life-changing money. It's a real exit strategy. It's an emergency fund. It's a college fund. It's a retirement fund. It's whatever you need it to be. It's yours. Incredible. So again, when we talk about the agent experience, the agent coming first, here we go. All of this can happen. We're publicly traded on NASDAQ. You see us out there. EXPI is what we're under. When you don't have all the brick and mortar, you don't have all the overhead, it allows you to do certain things. So we're going to touch on that in just a second, but now you're starting to understand why. So we have this great commission structure. We have the company awarded stocks. We have the Icon Award. We also have this middle column here, which is called the Agent Equity Program. What is that? Completely optional. You do not have to do it, but let me tell you what it is. I participate in it because I think it's awesome. You can take every commission that you get. You can take 5% of your commission and purchase stock at a 5% discount. You just made 5% on your money. In today's world, that's great. And you own it that day. You can trade it. You can sell it. If you bought it today at $10 and tomorrow went up to 20, sell it. You just made 10, you made $10 on it, on each share, on the amount of stock that you bought. So that's an option for you. Again, another benefit for the agents, you're making 5% on your money that day. Phenomenal. Completely optional. You do not have to do it, but again, commission split, company awarded stocks, icon award, agent equity. There's 4 different routes. There's a 5th one that we like to call revenue share. So you may have heard about revenue share, but you don't really understand what it is. I'm going to give you the 16,000 foot view of it. We're not going to get too deep in the weeds tonight because you can get lost in it, but it's really not that hard. So it's really simple. Remember that company dollar, the 20%, the $16,000? So here's how that works. To simplify it, 50 cents of every dollar that comes into eXp goes into that revenue share pool. So in this example, you see the pie shape on the right where it says eXp 20%, 8,000, 8,000. Remember, $16,000 cap, we're going to split it in half. 50%. $8,000 of that cap goes into the revenue share pool. The other $8,000 goes to eXp so we can run our company. It's that simple. There's no crazy, it all depends on if this office is profitable. It all depends. It all depends. It doesn't depend on anything. 50 cents of every dollar comes in there, automatically goes in a revenue share pool. So that's how revenue share works. This is what it means. If you help the company grow, you get compensated for it. It's literally that simple. A lot of people say, well, it's MLM. No, it's really not. I would challenge anybody out there that whatever company you currently work for, somebody brought you there. The only difference between them and us is that you get compensated for it because you're an owner in the company. Unless you started your own real estate company day one out of real estate school, you're working somewhere and somebody brought you there. Somebody introduced you to that company. I mean, that's life in general. You are where you were because you got there through people. The thing here is that when you help us grow, you get rewarded for it. It goes 7 tiers deep. So you will get paid if you brought somebody in. Every time they sell a house, you're going to get paid something up until the point to where they cap. Once they cap, there's no more revenue share, which is coming out of the company dollar. It does not come out of the commission. So nobody's commission is affected by revenue share. That's another myth. It's coming out of the company side of the money, the company dollar. So if I was somebody, if you're my sponsor, I'm selling. Every time I sell, you're getting a piece. Once I cap, you won't get any more revenue share on me until we reset next year. And this happens every year. So as you can see, there's 7 tiers deep. You see the different percentages on each level that you get. That's where we can get a little bit into the weeds, but it's not hard. We just came out with our revenue share model 2.0 last year, where in the past, you had to have a certain amount of people on each level to fully unlock the levels 1 through 7, so that you get the full amount available to you. Well, with our revenue share model, the first 3 levels are completely unlocked, no requirement. If you're someone who caps, all 5 levels are completely unlocked for you. And if you're an icon agent, all 7 levels are completely unlocked for you for 13 months. Amazing, unbelievable revenue stream for you. This is passive income that you can will down to your family, to your children. It's a legacy piece. I ask people all the time, like, you've built this business, but did you build a legacy? When you're done with real estate, what do you have? Some people buy properties, some people whatever. Here, you can have this revenue share that's coming. It's just growing, and it's paying you, and it's paying bills, and you can leave it for somebody. Unbelievable. Now, it goes all the way back to the beginning when I was talking about not having a brick and mortar. This is where it really shows itself. Because we don't have all that overhead, because we don't have all those expenses, we can take that money and put it into a revenue share pool and give it back to the agents instead of paying bills. Last year in 2024, over $200 million. Over $200 million went back to the agents in the form of revenue share. Think about what I'm telling you. In a time when people think the market's flat in a lot of parts of the country, the inventory is down, a lot of people's sales numbers are down, we were able to give over $200 million back to the agents in the form of revenue share. Amazing. Agent-centric. Agents first, agent experience. Incredible. So that's another revenue share opportunity for you. Also, we have sponsorship. Now we just you may have heard that we just announced that we have co-sponsorship available now. So what's the beauty of co-sponsorship? Well, maybe you know a couple different people here. and you have the ability to reap the benefits of being in two different, we call them organizations here. You have two different sponsors that have two different sets of things going on within their own community, and you can reap the benefits from both. So co-sponsorship's available for everybody that joins us here at eXp starting May 1. We want to talk about the different community events that we're involved in. Obviously, we support everybody. Whenever there's something going on, like we had all those terrible fires out in California and in New York. When there were hurricanes in North Carolina, we had a lot of agents affected by that. Through Extend a Hand, we were able to help our fellow agents and give it back to the community is a big part of who we are. It's who our culture is. When we talk about sharing our playbook and collaboration and agents helping agents, this is all part of it. So through One eXp and through Extended Hand, we are constantly giving back to each other and giving back to the community. It's a big part of who we are and what we stand for. In the very beginning, I talked about the expert care desk. This is a 24/7 staffed desk, so you can get a live person 24/7 from anywhere in the world. So if you're having an issue, you need some direction, you have somebody to call, and they will be there to take care of you and answer your questions. All right, guys. Woo! That was a lot, huh? So we did a lot in 36 minutes. You see this QR code here. So if you want to connect with somebody, you can scan that code, and it'll take you to the growth team. You can schedule an appointment with any one of us, and we would happily go into this in a little more depth. I'm trying not to put you to sleep tonight, all right? So that's everything there is with eXp. That's kind of surface level dive into it. I thank you all so much for spending your Tuesday with me. Again, if you have any questions, just scan that code, send us an email, schedule an appointment. We would love to meet you. And again, I appreciate you taking 36 minutes of your time on a Tuesday night to spend it with little old me. So thank you, everybody. Happy tax.